Welcome to Bones to Bulk, your source of information on how to gain lean muscle. My name is Brian Parody and I will be your host. And today we are talking about empty calories and healthy eating habits. So strap in and let's get ready for episode 012. Food. It's that lifeline, that thing that follows us everywhere. You know, when we go and we work out, we typically, put in 45 minutes to an hour and a half. Then we go home and we're done. We don't have to think about our workout for the rest of the day. We don't have to worry about it, stress about it, plan for it. We just go and do it. Food is not that way. Food is constantly in front of us. Whether we go to work and we have, someone who brought in donuts sitting there tempting us, or whether we're trying to figure out just what we're going to take to lunch for the week ahead. Food, it's a constant. We've got 28 meals a week plus all of our in-between snacks. So there's a lot to plan, a lot to figure out, a lot to think about. It's kind of one of those things that's always there. So how do you build healthy eating habits? Let's kind of touch on that before we dive into the empty calories. And before I get started, I do want to let you know that if you go to bonestobulk.com, you can sign up for my free starter's guide on how to gain muscle. Yes, you heard that right. It is free. Just go to bonestobulk.com, click on the free course icon, and head on over and get signed up for that. I mean, why not? All right, so let's dive in. So building healthy eating habits takes time. It's not an overnight process. I've been at this a long time, and there's still changes and tweaks that I'm constantly making to my food intake to try to get a little bit healthier or get a little less body fat. Or there's always more to work on. There's no elusive peak that once you reach, you're just done, because there's constantly new breakthroughs, there's constantly new findings, so there's always more to learn. But when it comes to building healthy habits, you want to start with the basics. So we probably all know there are certain things that just are not good for us. For instance, soda or candy or donuts or cake. Even if you don't know a lot about healthy eating, you pretty much know that those aren't the healthiest foods. So what I recommend is in week 1, get rid of one item altogether. So for example, get rid of all your soda in week 1 and then incorporate water in its place. In week 2, do something else. Doing this, you're going to build a healthy foundation. It's not going to be cold turkey, and then the more you do it, the better you're going to feel, the better you're going to look, and it's going to fuel you to keep doing that and to keep giving up items every week. So, in the title, we talk about empty calories. So what is an empty calorie? An empty calorie is something that gives you no nutritional value. For instance, some of the ones we were just talking about, soda or candy, okay? Our bodies can't take that in and do anything with it from a health perspective. So it's not going to do anything to help build your muscles. It's not going to do anything to make you healthier on the inside. It's not going to do anything to increase your lifts in the gym. That's what I mean when I say empty calories. It's something that has no purpose for your long-term fitness goals. It's not aiding you to get from point A to point B. So whenever you hear me say empty calories, that's what I'm talking about. Now, let's touch on some big ones when it comes to empty calories. For starters, white flour. Man, it's everywhere too, So from pastas to breads to cereals. I know so many people who, their sugary cereal, their Lucky Charms or whatever are their go-to in the morning, and you gotta stop eating those. They're not doing anything for those lean muscle gains. So yes, white flour, definitely cut out anything with that in it. Second off, anything high in sugar. Now, I'm not talking about natural sugar, because there are foods that have natural grams of sugar in them. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the processed, refined sugars that you find in candy or cakes or ice cream or cookies or anything on the snack aisle, pretty much. That's what you want to stay away from. Not only does sugar, man, I can't even go in. Sugar does so many bad things for us. It weakens our bodies. It taxes our the way our body can process sugar, and it puts a strain on it. It gives us false sense of stimulation because when we crash hard. There's so many things that it affects on an internal level. Long term, just eating tons of sugar can lead to diabetes or just lots of other health problems. So suffice it to say that you don't want sugar. Now, okay, so dealing with that, there's a lot of quote unquote healthy foods that you still have to be careful of when it comes to sugar. For instance, fruit juices are terrible for you. The reason is they don't have fiber in them like fruit does, so your body processes the sugar in juice totally different, and it sends your liver into like an overdose because it can't handle all that sugar that it's being drowned with. And so guess what it does? Turns it into fat. And that's not what we want, right? We want lean, solid muscle. So stay away from the sugar. All right. Another thing that sugar likes to hide in is yogurts. This is especially true with the fruit on the bottom because it's more of a syrup than it is fruit on the bottom. So try to avoid those. Stick to definitely your Greek yogurts, but also plain or vanilla, something simple, not with any mixtures or candy or flakes or syrup added in. Another thing that it likes to hide in, and this is a big one, is sports drinks. Oh my gosh, there is so much sugar in sports drinks. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some good ones out there. But you've got to be careful. There's some read the label on the bottles. It's going to tell you the amount of sugar, and then don't just read the label, but look and see how many serving size it's counting it as. Is it saying, per serving size and there's 2 servings in the bottle? Well, then double those numbers. You've got to be careful when it comes to sports drinks. Water needs to be your main crutch when it comes to what you drink. You don't need all this other stuff unless you're a high endurance athlete, but then you need other things that we won't even cover in this. So stick to water, drink lots of it all day long. You're not going to go wrong with it. All right, some other things that you may not think about are unhealthy, but when it comes to carbohydrates, now you may be thinking, what? Of course carbohydrates are unhealthy. Well, let me kind of shed some clarity on carbohydrates. So first off, carbohydrates are super important for our bodies, especially if we're lifting. We need the energy from them to do all that we're capable of doing. Now, there's a lot of fear over carbohydrates, especially with the keto diet. It's no carbs, no carbs, no carbs. Well, I'm here to tell you, eat your freaking carbs. You need them. Now, does that mean you go out and order a pizza or eat some Lucky Charms or no? Come on, we're talking nutritional food here. Go get some sweet potatoes. Go get some quinoa. Go get some couscous. Go get some brown rice, some wild rice, there's so many options for healthy carbohydrates. Get whole wheat pastas, whole wheat breads. These are all great sources that our body is going to immediately use for energy. A lot of people say they're tired, they're sluggish in the day. Well, 2 things are the main culprit for this. 1, oftentimes we don't get enough sleep. That is a fact. But 2, our diet plays so much of a role in how much energy we have. If our bodies are weighed down with trying to digest foods that we just can't get any nutritional value out of, like things that are high in fats, high in sugars, it's going to bog us down. It's going to weigh us down. We're going to feel sluggish. We're not going to feel our best. So I just want to encourage you to kind of rethink the way you view food, you think about food, and get away from the empty calories. Thank you so much for listening today. Remember, no matter what anybody has told you, no matter what walls you've hit, what obstacles you are trying to overcome, you can accomplish this. You've got this.